I attended a program at Harvard called OPM, which is actually they took their MBA program and then they combined it with people who basically have built businesses of significance and combined it together. So real world experience meets book experience, book knowledge to connect it. You have to remember, like when we started Streamline, I was 20 years old. I was the only one that had actually had a job before. I was actually doing IT and information security. Uh, the key is that I never finished university. I had a high school diploma. And I think that there was a moment in time where I realized, roughly when I was 35, before my first child was born, that I wanted to understand more than just what I could read on my own. And the thing is, I love reading and I love puzzling and I love trying to solve things. But there's a moment in time where you have to be humble and you have to realize there might be other people who know more. And if you can access to those people, why wouldn't you? So when I was in my 20s, I had tried to get into the OPM program. Actually, I was 24, 25 when I tried to get into OPM. Wasn't allowed in, too young. So 10 years later, I came back and tried, and they let me in. And it was the greatest experience of my life. Of course, Harvard's incredible, and it's a great school. It has amazing thinking, and the campus is important. An incredible piece of that is they're the teachers. But really, what it was meeting people like me who were self-taught or found themselves in a position where they needed to learn more and they wanted to apply themselves and to make relationships with people that I had never met before that were similar to me. So the education plus the network plus the understanding of life outside of the video game space, that's really what it came down to. And then ultimately, also just as a human being, wanting to know that this wasn't just some accident. Like I didn't just, oh, it just accidentally happened. It accidentally worked out. And, there might be people be like, well, okay, how can it accidentally happen? Well, there's some people that get lucky. I wasn't born lucky, but I'm hardworking. And so what I wanted to see was, well, what happens if hardworking meets formal education and an understanding? And that's what I got. And that one decision, like, just very honest with you, if you were to look at this on a revenue map, going to that school unlocked what I would then say at least 10x because it went from like here to here. That's the difference that it made. And so that's why, I'm a person who always say that education, like, okay, you went to college, cool. You don't have to go to college to make video games. I mean, if there's one business where really that doesn't matter, it's this one. Yet, if you do go, you need to learn things that are probably outside of your core. And those things will make the difference. So let's be clear. I didn't go to Harvard to learn video games. I went to Harvard because we were going to learn about business and what it means to operate and grow a business from 10 million to a billion. Let's just use that number. That way of thinking, that way of understanding, that way of being able to interrogate yourself and at the same time see the world for what it is, not what you'd like it to be, that was the difference. But I wouldn't have never known that. Yeah, I might have these like, oh, I read it on Twitter. Bullshit. The reality is that there's layers to this world. There are altitudes. And at one moment in time, there's an altitude that you break into where you realize, oh, wow, this is how it works. And then you grab it. That's why. And I think that, our industry can sometimes be poo poo on everything. And it doesn't need to be that way. But there are other industries that, by God, there's a reason why some of these industries are, 150 years old because of what they figured out. That's also what you do is that you go and you accelerate your learning by talking to people who are smarter, deeper in specific areas that you don't have. And that's what you learn to do.